Hi there, once again, welcome to another one of our technical videos where I attempt live to install some CPU libraries. Now, the CPU libraries are on the Aminet. You can see I found those on the Aminet under the MMU libs, LHA, and it goes through what it is, and you only need the MMU lib if you want to install the CPU libraries, and the CPU libraries should hopefully make the CPU maybe a little bit quicker and maybe more stable as well. So you see the MMU comes with the 020, the 030, the 040 and the 060, and it's used by Enforcer, CyberGuard, Guardian Angel, SetCPU, Shapeshifter, which is the Apple Macintosh emulator, VMM, which is Virtual Memory Management Unit, which is software to create virtual memory, and GigaMem as well, which does exactly the same thing. I think I owned both of them back in the day, and they turn hard drive space into memory. So if you want 16 gig or 16 meg virtual memory off your hard drive, that's what they do, and it's virtually, well, it does work because I've managed to load 16 meg animations on an 8 meg machine, but it's very slow and I wouldn't really recommend it. And another function of the MMU is to map the ROMs that we saw in the last part. That maps the ROMs into memory. And so the MMU on the 020 is used, and unfortunately you can't share the MMU with different tasks, and that's where the MMU library comes in, because that actually does that. So once we've installed that, it will install different libraries onto our computer, and you can see in this one, in the libs, it will install a basic OOO library, because that doesn't come with an MMU, so that's a dummy library, an 020, an 030, an 040, an 060, and it will patch the setpatch to use one of those libraries, so that as soon as you run the setpatch, it will find one of them. So if you've got an 030, you reboot, it will load up the 030 library, and that patches the library. So that means that the CPU should hopefully be a bit more stable and might run faster, and it also has extra functions as well. The 060 has functions in the software that aren't actually present in the hardware, and so you might notice that these extra functions, that's only 2 kilobytes, that's 43 kilobytes of extra functions, and the 060 has 64 kilobytes, that's a whole Commodore 64's worth of extra instructions in the software. So if you have an 060 and you haven't installed the 060 library, guess what? You're going to be losing some of the functionality and it's going to crash. So according to this very thing, it says if you've got an 060 and you don't install this, it's going to crash. So, well, wherever I did read that. So we're going to attempt to do that in this particular video. Under system diagnostics, we have various tools that we went through in a previous video. So ignoring all those, we've also got the Enforcer and Debug directory that I've just put in there, and that's got HRTmon in there, it's got Enforcer and Guardian Angel that we've heard about, also on Mega System 2 as well. And Mega System 2 is basically like an action replay, so there is a button for the intro, and I think this asks where you want to install that. You can have it in the user address, system 0, or an allocated address, or the last known address, which is the same one. So hopefully if we click on one of these, okay, it will momentarily go into a different screen where we can now use the mouse, and you can see the different hardware settings, restore CIAs, maybe swap those over using software rather than hardware, which comes in handy for some computers. You can reset the disk drive from here as well, and you can also check out the preferences, you can check out the exec, you can clear the chip RAM and clear the hardware functions from there, and you can back up things as well, and there's a monitor here as well. So this function is like action replay, only that's in software. But the Enforcer isn't going to work at the moment because it's incompatible with the Fast Rom that we've got going on at the moment. So we've got this on at the moment, CPU Fast Rom, we're just going to get rid of that. and caches, we don't need to worry about that. So I don't think I've got a cold boot thing on the system, and we do have a reboot, and I'm not quite sure. So let's persevere with this. These are the MMU libraries that I showed you on the internet. Let's just install them for the first time, and let's see what happens. Let's choose novice user for this, even though I'm an expert, and well, it seems to have copied all those in. Next page, print, go to, and quit. So MMU libraries, Workbench, old libs. It's copying all those in automatically, and I'm adapting the MMU guide to a new destination, so it's automatically found our libraries directory, and it's now patching the MMU guide or something like that. And now we've reached 99%. It's replacing fast exec, and that means the exec library is intuition on the Amiga, and if it's replacing it to make it faster, then that's all the better. So it's now finally complete after maybe 5 minutes, so that's not too bad, but it did take some time. And mulib can be found in the sys drawer or partition. Sys, that doesn't look very good. The installation log is named sys. Okay, so now that it's finished that, the first thing that we need to do is, well, the first thing I'm going to do is find out what it's actually done. So old, it looks like it's backed up various things into old, various prefs, and also the star subsequence as well. So that's what it's changed. It's also replaced setpatch and iprefs. So in libs, what do we have? Well, obviously we've got the authority, but do we have it's going to be over here. Yes, we do have all the libraries, but not the O20. Why is it not copied the O20 across? Well, what we can do is we can find out, if I can remember again, where I put this stuff. System tool, system diagnosis, and enforcer. So MMU libs. So looking at that O30, it hasn't been patched, so we'll copy the O20 across, and that should mean everything is now patched. In order for this to work, it's got to edit the star sequence. Let's see what it's actually done. What have you done? Why have you changed my star subsequence? What have you done? Yes, it's now executing my user startup. I don't want that. MCP, run a SignX. Well, a SignX still isn't working, so we can get rid of that. Go Workbench, let's get rid of that. So what we need to do for any of that is start setpatch to make this run. So if I type setpatch here, let's just run it from C, and it should find it in C because we've just added the path. So let's put that to nil, so it's not going to come out with any output. And let's also put this to nil as well, so it's not going to come up with anything on that screen. Let's see what it's trying to do. So it's going, let's tap in direct path, sys, system directory, new tools, yeah, mu Fast Rom, I see, switching that on. set, and output to nil, so it's not going to come out with anything on that screen. So if I'm running that first of all, I escape out of that, and then I quit out of that, and I reset that, then it's saying return code 10. Ooh, what does that mean? What are you supposed to do to recover? Oh, look at that, I can't even read it. What are you supposed to do to recover from that situation? Can you type help? No, you can't. What you can actually do is load up that Workbench, and it's going to come up with all kinds of reasons why it can't, but just ignore them. And we've got a CLI window open, so let's keep it open, shall we? And I don't think it's going to be able to run the Opus. Let's try it. Ah, it is. So let's consider return code 10. So that means MMU tools, MMU Fast Rom isn't being recognized. And it'd probably be a good idea to pre-test it just to make sure it is working. MMU tools. MMU tools, object not found. Where am I now? Help. Help. MMU tools. Right. MMU Fast Rom requires work in MMU. It does it? Of course, it would help if I'd selected to choose the MMU in the first place. And some authorities don't even have an MMU, and some do, and some all-20s don't either. But with the emulator, you can switch it on as normal. EC is kind of an economy mode where not everything's in there, and it's not compatible with JIT. So the economy mode is the economy one that doesn't have all the functions in it, and that's why you definitely need the old 20 to get some kind of full compatibility by the all 20 libraries. But this MMU here, you can see, wasn't even selected in the configuration. So let's just save that up and reset. And now it reboots. We've got an MMU. After all that, so finally it should mean now that Enforcer, well, still doesn't work, so let's try that again. And MMU libs and Guardian Angel. Well, Guardian Angel said it couldn't find, requires MMU force running. So I've got an MMU, but it says it requires MU force running. Alright then, so let's put MU force on. Now running. And now it's initializing. Whatever it's doing, I have no idea. And let's force it to do something that it shouldn't do by messing around again. So I screen hacks. First of all, the lemming, is that going to work? Perhaps not. And we can have the walking man. Okay, good. And now the window washer, is that going to work? Well, maybe not. Try the boring balls. Sprite allocations failed. Screen melt, tilt. So obviously the lemmings aren't working. And bugs. And, well, so the problem is, with all these things going on at once, there's nothing here going to crash because the memory management unit's on. And it's just going to save it from crashing, which is precisely what it's supposed to do. You can see no matter what we're doing here, even though everything's slowing down to a grind, it's not actually crashing the system anymore because of this enforced stuff. No matter what we're doing here, and stuff is going to be really slow at this point. I'm wondering if anything's actually running. So it is running, but nothing is crashing because, alright then, let's try and close things down. That'll crash the system. Let's try and close things down. Pryman. Here we go. So all those bugs, kill that task. And we are still in control. And the walking man. There's actually 6 of them walking around at the moment, according to that. Eat it. Alright, eat it's running twice. Alright then. So yeah, we can now kill these things and it's not going to crash the system. MU Force and Guardian Angel on. So if I now redraw all, so we've still got them going. So yeah, I'm trying my best now to crash the system and it's not crashing. Well, alright then. It's now going to reboot pretty quick. We've now got the MCP back on, so it's now telling us what we've got. That is pretty quick. Let's see, platform. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, that's now 5 seconds to load a 7-second directory. What about that? That took 3 seconds before. 1, 2, 2.5. So it is quicker once you've installed that. I haven't done anything else than since you saw last time using the ECO30. So that took 7 seconds and that took 3.5. So we've actually shaved quite some time loading simply by installing that whole 30 directory and having that MMU on. So that's pretty good. I'm not sure if it's going to speed, well, it might even speed up all kinds of emulators by doing this as well, and all kinds of utilities, it might speed it up as well. So we've now got, hopefully, everything installed on the thing. And yeah, it says CPU Fast Rom is on. So we've now got that. And before we go, 30, I've actually got the CPU command from the Workbench 3.9 release here. UN, and there it is. And so that can be run perfectly well on Workbench 3.1. If you have 3.9, you can just copy that CPU command over and that will tell us what we've actually got, because if you have an all-60, then it will tell us with the old one and not with the new one. So I wonder if I can just demonstrate that finally. That's ITG, Fast Amiga. Is that all 60, I wonder? Or is that all 40? Let's just check it out. Fast Rom failed, return code 10. See, this is the problem. It was working a minute ago. Now it's not. Why is it not? GH1, CD, Workbench. So that was working before, but now we've changed the CPU, it isn't. MU Fast Rom. Probably because we haven't put the MMU back on. That's what it is. Chipset, MMU, let's put the MMU back on. Oh, well, according to that, it should have one built in. So if that's the case, it shouldn't need it for the all 60. So that patch is probably for only all 30 and whatever. So with the all 60, it's got an MMU built into it. So that's why it's coming up with that. So that line probably wouldn't even have been installed if we had an all-60. So that's why it's not working. But if we put CPU on, if I can get this C command to work, CPU, it says we've got an all-40. But if we use the Workbench 3.9 CPU command, it says we've got an all-60. So it's better to copy that over. If you've got an actual all-60, copy that over from 3.9 and you'll recognise it. So we've now got, according to that, the MMU. So just to test that out, we can now go to our thing, the one thing that we know works. This thing works, MU Force, an MMU Guardian Angel. It's still saying it requires an MMU. So obviously it needs an MMU to work, and this all-60 hasn't got one. So, well, let's say if you've got an all-30 or an all-40, whatever, that's how you're supposed to install the MMU libs and the all-30 and the all-40 and the all-60 library, so that it actually works. So what can you do about that? Edit. Oh no, command. I've gone into edit instead of the editor, which is a ridiculous thing, but anyway. So we don't need that. So there could be something, a check there. If CPU equals, then do that. Else, end if. What about if we just run it? Then if we reset that, it'll just run it. If it can't run it, it carries on anyway. We're all set up. So if I now change that back to the 040 again, 040, or even the 030 again, and that will mean runs it, no output whatsoever, everything still works, and we've got the setpatch on. Let's just triple check that, which now patches exec all and everything else that's got going on. So hopefully that now works with our libraries. So thank you once again for this, and you can see how visibly much quicker it is than before. This is almost instantaneous now on an all-30, and I haven't really done anything. It's just, you know, it's faster because I've just installed those libraries, and it's got it in ROM. This thing's got the MMU in ROM and the ROM in Fast Rom, so everything's now going a slight bit quicker as far as max transfer rates and, you know, things like that. And when I said before that they're incompatible with games, WHD load are fine. But if you've installed a game directly onto the hard drive, it might be struggling with the caches. But obviously, if you've put on the emulator, you want the cycle execs on, then it's not going to be a problem, because cycle exec means that it emulates a real CPU. If you take the cycle execs off, obviously it makes a huge difference. So thank you very much.